fitness is 80% nutrition and 20% exercise. I'm going to dig into that little saying today. Welcome back to the Begin Within Health Show. We're going to take a closer look at that phrase. And before we do, if you haven't done so already, could you please subscribe and or follow this show and then rate and review it if you're using especially a podcast player. See, here's the way it works. People search for health. They search for fitness, different podcasts, and the podcasts that have the most engagement, right? We're talking about the most episodes listened to, the most people who have rated and reviewed the show positively. Well, those are the shows that show up first when people search for those topics. So if you would be so kind as to rate and review the show, you're going to help other people to find the Begin Within Health Show. And of course, you're going to help me to be able to help them as I share really actionable fitness tidbits each and every week here with you. All right, let's dive in on this phrase. Fitness is 80% nutrition and 20% exercise. Now, first, a little truth, a little honesty from me. I've been in this industry for a long time, and I've definitely said that phrase to people. Here's the reason why I've said it, is to help those that I've been working with to understand we can't just get into the gym and work out and get healthy just from working out. There's a lot of other things that we have to do. And one of the big movers is, of course, what's going down the hatch, what we are eating. So I've used that phrase to help people to understand, hey, nutrition, super important. You can't just come in here and bust it in the gym and expect everything's going to magically start working better. You're going to get healthy. No, you got to pay attention to those other important factors. One of them, of course, is nutrition. Now, I'm going to tell you why I don't use that little phrase anymore. The fitness is 80% nutrition and 20% exercise. I get the intention behind it, but here's the reason why. And actually, there's multiple. I'm going to share with you 5 reasons why I wouldn't use that phrase anymore and why I recommend that you don't use it either, including with yourself. First off, number 1, here we go. Number 1 reason why I don't use that phrase. Fitness is 80% nutrition and 20% exercise is because it makes it sound like fitness is all about 2 things, nutrition and exercise. And that those are the only 2 things that determine your results, right? 80% plus 20% equals 100% of fitness coming from nutrition and exercise. And that somehow they carry this like fixed percentage. Now we understand that the 80-20 concept, right? That it's just a way of saying like most of your results come from this or that. And we give that one the 80%. And there's a significant amount, but not the majority of results that come from the other thing. Right? I get it, the 80-20 rule and that principle, but the fixed percentage thing, it's not even real. Like this is not a real thing, the 80-20. The fitness isn't a pie chart. And there's way more than just 2 slices. Let me throw out a few other things that rarely get mentioned. They're certainly not getting mentioned if we're adding up 100% of fitness coming from 80% nutrition and 20% exercise. Here are the things we're missing. How are you sleeping? How are you sleeping? Are you sleeping well? Not so well? Wow. Fitness and health, very dependent on good sleep. How are you doing managing stress and recovering from stress? The physical stress, including the stress you put on yourself in the gym, but also the emotional stress that is just part of life. We can't avoid it. It's there. Well, how are you doing recovering from it? That's going to impact your results big time in terms of health and fitness. How about hydration? 80% nutrition, 20% exercise. We didn't even talk about what we're drinking, right? I guess we could include that maybe in the 80% nutrition, but We didn't, right? I don't include hydration and nutrition. It's about getting enough water, getting the minerals that you should be, the electrolytes that you should be as part of good hydration. How about this one? Here's an interesting piece of the fitness and health pie. How are your connections with others? Meaningful, valuable, rewarding? Is there a positive exchange that you're having with other people on a regular basis? I just had an interesting conversation with a colleague about loneliness. Loneliness affects our health big time. So how are those meaningful connections with others? And I mean, in general, how about your connection with yourself, right? Energy levels, mental health, sense of purpose. Those things all contribute to the shape that you're in. So no, it's not just two things. It's not just 80-20 on those two. It's more like everything matters. Everything. Because you're a whole person. You're not just a math problem. You're not just an equation. You're not just 80 plus 20 equals 100%. So that's number one. It sets up the false either or concept, and that this is only about two ingredients is about so much more. We're a whole person. Here's number two. It assumes that every person has the same goal, that fitness is about one thing, usually weight loss or about looking a certain way, right? Gaining muscle, losing body fat. But what if your goal is just to feel stronger? What if your goal is to have more energy throughout the day? What if it's to be able to play with your grandkids without pain, to be able to get up and down off the floor? What if that's your goal? Is that 80% nutrition and 20% exercise and that's it? Or would it be something else? What if your goal with fitness is to be physically, but more importantly, mentally fit, mentally resilient? Is that just 80-20 nutrition and exercise? How about just to stay mobile and independent as you get older, into retirement and beyond? Is it just 80% nutrition, 20% exercise, or would those percentages be different? Would there be more things contributing to that pie? If those were your goals, absolutely. Different goals require different inputs. So throwing out that fixed 80-20 formula ignores the full spectrum of why you are here in the first place, why you're pursuing better health and better fitness in the first place. Your fitness goals, they're allowed to be different than somebody else's. They're allowed to be different than mine. This is your approach. And just saying, hey, to get what you want, it's 80% nutrition, 20% exercise. No way. It's very dependent on the goals that you have, where you're at, where you want to be. So that's number two. We're not assuming that everyone has the same goal. And that's the second reason why this saying is out of my vocabulary now. And along with that, number three, that saying that it neglects individuality, right? Even if we could agree on a general formula for fitness, here are the pieces, here's how it works, it still wouldn't work for everyone the same way because everybody's different. Genetics play a role, hormones play a role, age, medications, injuries, past experiences, they all affect how your body responds to food and how your body responds to exercise. So when someone hears this phrase and they're doing 80% nutrition and 20% exercise, whatever in the world that means, right? They're doing it, but they're still not getting the results. They might feel like something's wrong with them. But of course, the body's not broken, right? It's doing the best it can with what it's been through so far. So realizing the importance of individuality is another reason why that phrase doesn't really work, in my opinion. Here's number four. That phrase creates guilt and confusion. I think it could be dangerous. And again, this is just my opinion, my humble opinion. I want to hear yours. Feel free to drop a comment. Find me at Nate Slager on social media. You can find my work accounts real easy that way. But let me know what you think about this phrase. 80% nutrition, 20% exercise equals 100% fitness, something like that. Let me know what you think about it. I'm curious. But my fourth reason why I would drop it out is because I believe it creates guilt and confusion. It can be dangerous because when people believe that 80% of their fitness comes from nutrition, they assume that if things aren't going well, it's because they are eating wrong, right? I mean, let's start there. Let's start with the 80%. If the results are coming, it's probably from that. That means I've been eating wrong. Well, what happens if that's the feeling that you have? That's the message that you're getting. You've been eating wrong. One maybe natural response is to give more attention to food. And if the results still aren't coming, give even more attention to food and then even more attention to food. And pretty soon, what's happening is an individual could be obsessing over food. And in general, they're going to be cutting, they're going to be restricting the amount of calories and foods that they're having. And then they're going to be stressing even more. And they can end up in a negative spiral that actually hurts their health instead of helping it. And I think if we look, again, my opinion, but I think if we look at the industry in general, that's one of the major problems that people are dealing with. Oh, this is all about food. And so I need to obsess, I need to restrict. And if I'm not up to that, I don't have the energy to do that anymore, or I tried it and it didn't work, guess what? Forget about it. I'm not going to do it at all anymore. And let's just do whatever we want, eat whatever tastes good, as much of it as we feel like. And that also creates a very negative spiral where guilt is one of the major emotions that comes up when we start talking about fitness. And of course, in that process, we might be undervaluing those other things we mentioned before, including movement, exercise, not just for body composition, but for mental health, for energy, for mood, for confidence. All those things come with good, healthy movement, whichever one is best or right for you at the time. So the phrase fitness is 80% nutrition, 20% exercise. It might sound motivational, but I think that it can create kind of a toxic all or nothing mindset very easily. Right? What do you think? Again, I'd love to know your thoughts. Drop a comment. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know how this is resonating with you. If you agree or you disagree with me, that's okay. If you think I'm off my rocker, I don't mind. You can share it with me. I love to get your feedback. So that was number 4, creates guilt and confusion. And then number 5, I love this one. You know that we talk about this a lot here on the Begin Within Health show is this phrase, fitness is 80% nutrition, 20% exercise, ignores the power of habits and consistency. Fitness does not come from percentages. We talked about that, right? What is 80% nutrition? What is that? What does that even mean? When you really start thinking about it, it has very little meaning. Good health comes from the things that we're doing repeatedly, the things we're doing on a regular basis, things that I refer to as habits. And you might too. Fitness and health comes from habits, little ones, repeated daily, done consistently over time. There's no magic formula that says eat this, work out that, and boom, you've got it. You're fit because you got 100%. You did 80% nutrition today. You did 20% exercise today, and you're 100% fit. That's not how it works. We know that. But it's about stacking behaviors together to support your destination, to get you where you want to go, to keep you heading in the direction of being healthier, drinking more water, going to bed on time, going for a walk even when you don't feel like it, learning how to bounce back when you feel like, oh, things didn't go the way that I wanted them to. I didn't do what I intended to. being able to be resilient and bounce back from that, that's fitness. That's how this works. One little thing at a time. And that's kind of the real math of health and fitness. Don't you think? It's not the 80-20, 80% nutrition, 20% exercise. It's just showing up and doing the work that fits into your life today, right now, being the healthiest version of yourself you can possibly be, taking those actions today and doing it again tomorrow. All right, wrapping it up. Yeah. Next time you hear someone say it, I guess take it with a grain of salt. Fitness is 80% nutrition, 20% exercise. Feel free to smile and say, actually, it's about 100% life, 100% whole person here. There's a lot more to it. Your sleep matters. Your stress and recovery matters. Your hydration, your relationships, your mindset, your movement, your food, your follow through and consistency, they all matter very, very much. So instead of boiling it down to a simple formula, I say just honor the whole thing, honor the whole picture, keep working on it. Yes, it's a lot, but you're a lot and you're worth it. You're worth doing the work. You're worth digging into what might be the biggest opportunity right now for you in order to become a healthier version of yourself, and looking at that on a regular basis, building that into your life, and then asking the question again, all right, now what's the thing I need to work on to be the healthiest version of myself? And if circumstances change and require you to ask that question sooner rather than later, that's okay. Because that's where the work is. That's where we get the results from. That's how we get healthier. All right. Thanks for listening today. If this helped you zoom out and rethink about how you approach fitness, hey, send it to someone else. I will talk with you again soon. And as always, until then, please keep taking good care of yourself.